Most people will never admit this out loud. They have a home, a phone full of people to contact, entertainment available at any second of any day, people to text, endless content, endless stimulation, endless distraction. And yet, something feels permanently missing. Not dramatically, not catastrophically, just quietly, like a low hum of dissatisfaction that never completely goes away. And the strange part is, most people cannot even explain what exactly is wrong. Because technically, life looks full, but emotionally it feels strangely empty. This is not weakness. This is not laziness. And this is not simply modern stress. This is what happens when an entire generation slowly confuses stimulation for satisfaction. And they are not the same thing. Not even close. Satisfaction is slow. It is what you feel after finishing something difficult. After a conversation that actually meant something. After creating something real. After sitting with yourself long enough for your mind to become quiet instead of distracted. It does not arrive instantly. It builds slowly. And when it arrives, it stays. Pleasure is different. Pleasure is immediate. A notification. A scroll. A new episode. A message from someone you wanted attention from. A sudden spike of excitement. It arrives loudly, quickly, effortlessly, and disappears almost immediately, forcing you to reach for the next thing before you have even processed the last. For most of human history, people primarily lived through satisfaction. Not because life was easier, but because the world did not offer instant pleasure every 5 seconds. Today it does. And your nervous system, ancient, emotional, overstimulated, and completely unprepared, chose pleasure. Every single time. And eventually, something terrifying started happening. The mind stopped tolerating depth. Not just in productivity. In relationships too. You open your phone while someone is talking. You feel restless during quiet moments together. You subconsciously compare real people to hundreds of idealized personalities you consume online every week. You mistake emotional familiarity for boredom. And slowly, real intimacy begins to feel emotionally understimulating. Not because the people in your life are not enough, but because your threshold for stimulation has been raised so high that anything requiring patience, emotional effort, consistency, or understanding starts feeling exhausting. Real love requires attention. Real friendship requires showing up even when it is not exciting. Real connection requires sitting in discomfort sometimes. And the modern mind, trained to swipe away anything that does not instantly reward it, is losing the capacity for all of it. This is why so many people crave connection, while simultaneously sabotaging it. And then there is silence. For most people today, silence no longer feels peaceful. It feels threatening. The moment stimulation disappears, your mind begins filling with everything you have been trying not to face. Unanswered questions. Unprocessed emotions. Responsibilities you delayed. Conversations you avoided. The quiet realization that maybe you are not happy in the way you pretend to be. So you reach for your phone. Not because you are curious, but because anything feels better than facing yourself. Because silence no longer feels empty. It feels exposing. Psychologists call this experiential avoidance. The tendency to escape internal discomfort through external stimulation. And research now shows it is one of the biggest drivers of emotional numbness, anxiety, chronic dissatisfaction, and attention fragmentation in modern adults. You are not avoiding boredom. You are avoiding yourself. And this explains something else too. Why reading a book suddenly feels exhausting. A 10-second video feels manageable. A 20-minute episode feels normal. But 10 pages of a book somehow that feels difficult now. A quiet walk without headphones feels uncomfortable. Sitting still feels unnatural. Even rest feels mentally noisy. And the problem is not that your attention span disappeared. People can still focus for hours on things that constantly stimulate them. The real problem is this: your brain now demands payment upfront. Before it gives anything attention, it wants guaranteed reward. Immediate stimulation. Continuous novelty. Real life cannot provide that consistently. Books cannot. Growth cannot. Relationships cannot. Self-awareness cannot. And so the things carrying the deepest value in human life, depth, understanding, connection, meaning, discipline, inner peace, begin feeling emotionally expensive. Not because you do not want them, but because your nervous system has slowly been trained to resist them. And this is the paradox of modern life. Human beings now have access to more than any generation in history. More entertainment. More options. More comfort. More information. More stimulation. And somehow, less fulfillment than ever. Because fulfillment never came from stimulation. It came from depth. From staying with something long enough for it to matter. From resisting the urge to constantly escape yourself. From choosing meaning over momentary distraction. And maybe, that is why so many people secretly feel tired all the time. Not physically. Mentally. Emotionally. Spiritually. Because the mind was never designed to consume this much stimulation while processing this little meaning. So what do you actually do with this? Not a motivational list. Not 5 steps to fix your dopamine. Something more honest than that. Maybe recovery begins with learning to tolerate silence again. Maybe it begins with doing things that do not immediately reward you. Reading slowly. Walking without distraction. Finishing something difficult. Staying present in conversations instead of escaping them mentally. Maybe it begins with understanding that the modern mind will almost never feel like doing the things that truly nourish it. Because real satisfaction usually arrives after effort, not before it. And maybe the most important realization is this: you are not broken. Your nervous system adapted exactly the way it was trained to adapt. But adaptation is not destiny. And awareness changes things. Because once you begin seeing the pattern, you stop unconsciously serving it. And this is only the surface of it. Because every symptom mentioned here, emotional numbness, relationship dissatisfaction, attention collapse, overstimulation, silence avoidance, the constant search for something more, goes much deeper than most people realize. In the next videos, we will slowly unpack each of them properly. Not just philosophically, but psychologically. Because knowing the problem intellectually is one thing. Learning how to reclaim your mind from it is something entirely different. The most radical thing you can do in the modern world is stop constantly needing to be stimulated. Not everything demanding your attention deserves your life. And not everything making you feel excited is actually making you fulfilled. If that matters to you, you already know what to do. Guard your mind. Until next time, stay awake.